These men are very weird and different, and I never want to date a man again. So somebody from my past had reached out to me and told me that he wanted to try again. He wanted to take me out on a date and see where things go. So I said okay, and I agreed to go because I'm not dating anybody, so why not? So he plans this date, and then we end up not going because something comes up on his end. He plans two more dates after that, and those 2 days we still did not go because of him. So after the third time, I was just like, we're not going on a date. Like, we're not doing any of that. You don't even have to worry about me because you're not about to keep playing with my time. So we stopped talking, and then like 2 weeks later, he hits me up and we start talking again as friends, just cordial. So we're talking as friends and everything's okay. And then randomly one day he calls me, and as soon as he answers, his first words were, "Man, how much for that shit?" So I'm just like, how much for what? This man was like, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. Excuse me? So I'm like, I know you're not talking about sex. And he's just like, yeah, name your price. How much? And I'm just so fucking appalled. Like, it literally had to sound like crickets on the phone because I just got silent. Like, I'm just thinking to myself, is he fucking serious? So I'm like, you gotta be joking. There's no way that you asking me something like that. So he's like, no, I'm not joking. I can help you if you help me. So just name your price. So I'm like, that's disgusting. Like, that's very weird of you to ever call my phone and ask me something like that. But yeah, that same day he got blocked because I don't even play like that. Like, never. I'll never play like that.
Make what you will of the narration and everything. And, I always say there's two sides to a story, right? And more often than not, our side is muted because, believe all women or believe women, that hashtag. Yeah, our side is muted and shit. We don't know the whole story. Okay? I have to hear both sides of the story to make an accurate assessment, but I'll give an educated guess that sometime in the past, did she put him on in the friend zone while she was riding the cock carousel? And that's the thing, okay? Let's not let's not get it twisted and shit. Women like to stockpile men and shit. Put them on the bench. All right. And why they put them on the bench? They like to have the cake and eat it too. They're habitual cake eaters and shit, which explains the expanding waistline. But we have a woman that's right in the pocket or the cusp of her SMV, sexual marketplace value. I cringe saying that, by the way. And you have a guy calling her up and shit. She agrees to go on some dates with him. Like, I think about 3 dates. And he didn't show up for any of them, or he canceled at the last moment. At the last moment and shit. And she seems to be, she looks very attractive. She looks fit. Sounds feminine. We don't know if she actually is. She got the look and everything, okay? And this guy has called up a beautiful black woman and, set up 3 dates, you know, and flaked on all three of them and shit. And then he calls her up and he offers her money for her peace leave. Okay, so using the educated guess and everything, just plain common sense. This guy was putting her friends on. Or she did something shitty to this fucking guy. She did something shitty to this fucking guy. Probably cheated on him or something or whatever. She did something fucked up. And I guess he thought about it. He felt a certain way, and he tapped into the petty side of his nature, and he reestablished contact with her for some reason. And he decided to just give her a gold digger test and shit. But she didn't have any respect for him anyway, and shit. She didn't think he was a high value guy. I don't know what her morals are. I don't know. I mean, we'd have to test her against an actual guy, certified high value guy, to see if she would actually put her peace leave on the block and shit. But just the fact that he did that last part when he offered her money for sex was meant as a dig at her as a person and shit. I don't know if he would actually pay her. He might have just trolled her again. He might have just trolled her again. All right. This, his actions read as somebody very petty and very angry and shit. Okay, and that doesn't just come out of nowhere and shit. And women like to rug sweep their involvement in negative situations. They like to rug sweep it all the time, and you're just supposed to believe them. You're just supposed to take them at face value because you know reasons. Okay, they're a princess and everyone else is a serf. It's the world revolves around them and shit. So no, therefore everything they say is right. Okay, I believe it. You know, the black woman is queen. The black woman is God. You know, but you know, a guy being petty and shit. You know, well, he's in the wrong. Okay, this reminds me of a video I made a while back where another guy had done something similar, but he invited a woman to go with him on a trip to the Dominican Republic, and they both flew out there as friends to a resort, and she was hanging out with him and shit. I don't know if she had been herself by herself, but she was hanging out with him, and he was picking up women. You know, he's picking up women for rental women and shit who looked way better than her, and going off with them and taking her to clubs where other rental women or locals were in the know, and they were running up to him. He was having a time of his life with women that dwarfed her in SMV. You know, just made her feel like Ant Man and shit. You know, compared to what they look like. She herself described the women as looking like supermodels on a whole nother level, all natural, all real hair. You know, while she was who she was. Okay, and I posit that that is the same situation here. This guy just was he just was trolling her and shit and whatnot because she had somehow offended him and whatnot. He just couldn't get it out of his head and shit. You know, not all of us are strong enough to, you know, walk away, you know, and just, you know, maybe seek counseling or, you know, just altogether let it go and just focus on something else until, you know, the memory becomes until the memory of the person fades away. A lot of people aren't the same. We're all just really human beings. You know, what can you say? Okay, I really can't call it, but I have to hear both halves of the story and shit. And then she puts herself out there as this moral person and everything and shit. And I've seen her page on TikTok and a lot of videos. She complained about having to work for a living and having to pay a rent for a living and shit. You know, what can you say, right? All right, young kings and shit. Let this be a lesson to you. Keep your head on a swivel. SYSBM equals save yourself, black man.